Hawa. Much love to the family, much love to the tribe. Shabbat Shalom. Hope everyone's doing well. Hope everybody out there is blessed. And we're going to keep it moving. Before I get started today, y'all know I love that drop poetry. And I wanted to do one for our sisters out there, man, just to show some love, so some ahab, some appreciation. And then we're going to jump right into it. Okay. This one here is called Dear Sisters from Us Brothers. Okay. Dear Sisters from Us Brothers. Is it okay for me to say, with your permission, how much I thank you in your pure essence? Like fluorescence, you shine when you question man's mind, something like bioluminescence. You've borne the dragon storm with your drop on lock, references non-stop, poetry for us to rock, turquoise on us copper blocks. I am thankful that dragons resonate with you. Your insight is vital to find the truth. I am thankful that Hawa has given you a spirit of love, advice, and stick it through. Is it okay for me to say, with your permission, how much I thank you in your participation? Like fluorescent you shine when you tell us, look here, or do you, or be the best of us. Much ahab to the sisters out there, appreciating everything y'all doing behind the scenes, on the scenes, and unseen. You know what I'm saying? So, again, I just want to show that love, that appreciation, that ahab. Oh, man, so much going on. So much going on. What we got going on, man? What y'all want to get into? Well, seems like everybody's talking about dragons. Man, you've been digging on it. You know, nothing but dragon talk, right? Up and down. Surf the wave. You know. So, I'm going to go ahead and get into some dragon drop here myself. And we're going to kind of pick up where I left off here with the Egyptian magic versus dragon magic. And I'll be the first one to tell you, dig on it, man. Dig on all this dragon drop. So if you knew was rocking with me, thank you. And hopefully I'll make this easy for you to belly flop into. But but also have enough meat on the table, as it were, for those that have been riding the wave. And again, much love, support baby Stu. Just had the beautiful baby, and sister Camellia out there. Dragons on the wall, baby. Dragons on the wall. Don't forget to check in to the live drop radio, y'all. Check in on it. You know what I'm saying? Wow. Now, I've been listening to it. I ain't been able to check in, and there's a story behind that. But I do listen, man. As a matter of fact, he should be coming on pretty soon here. I'm looking at my clock here, so we'll see. Maybe we'll check in a little bit later and just peep in and see what's going on over there. You know what I'm saying? So, in any case, all right. So, again, much love to the family, much love to the tribe. Digging on our water man. We got our water man. And also definitely checking in with those flutes. Today, I just kind of want to chill, man. I just kind of want to sit back and just go over some information and kind of learn some things and kind of be that hound that chase Thoth around, if that makes sense. All right, so, we all digging on these dragons and stuff, man, and which is a beautiful thing. Now, gotta definitely free Phineas. Free brother Phineas, y'all. Dig on it. Free brother Phineas, man. They got homie locked up in New York. Rikers Island or something. But any case, we digging on all this dragon drop. And And I'm a firm believer that we should have what's the word I'm looking for? We should have some basic understanding, some lower common denominator type stuff. You know what I'm saying? Uh, some foundation, as it were. And because with everything that we're digging on, we know that these dragons are going to come back. Okay? It's written about in the Old Testament as well as in the New. It's written about in different legends and myths. I mean, they even got the whole storyline with the old Game of Thrones and the Return of Dragons and stuff like that. And when you dig on it, there's a plethora of information. And what's really trippy about it is how old the information is, and what have you. So I was digging on the dragon drop that Brother King had dropped. Matter of fact, it was where is it? I think it's all the way at the bottom now. I mean, that's how much dragon drops coming in, like bam, bam, bam. Oh man, where is it? Yeah, I think it's way at the bottom. Where's that? Did I pass it? Help me out, y'all. Look at all these good drops, man. Alright. Any case. No, it's on here. Where you put it at? Did it already go to the next page? Man. Alright. Oh, that's a good one. This one's here. This Brother Hiram. This drop here. Yeah, get into it, man. Get into this classroom. Deep stuff right there. Hitting you over the head. Hitting you over the head. Where is it? It was before the... Oh, yeah, and if you all missed it, y'all can catch up right here, but a lot of this drop is coming in. Where is it, though? It was the one before this one. In any case, before I lose my train of thought. So, you know, we was digging on all the different dragon information, and we're talking about, you know, Brother Phineas here, and what we're really trying to do is make sure we have that dragonfly perspective, and know that when it comes to all the usual suspects and the new jacks and the drops coming out, that there is a bigger picture in the conglomerate in the aggregate of things. So what I first want to do here is I want to jump back into the minds of a hijack. Okay. Now this is the fundamental teachings of ancient alchemy and hermeticism. What we had before. Now we starting to get the drift of how these dudes do, you know, how they work their magic, right? They like to flip it. They like to say things inverted, things of that nature. And so even in this video, we have to go damn near to the end of the video to get the beginning, and then we have to go back to the beginning to get the rest of the drop. Okay. All right. So let's dig on it here. Hold on, let me get this. Hold on. Turn down it. Just sleeps a little bit. Is that good? I think it's good. I hope it's good. Alright, let's see where was I. Alright. Here we go. Alright, the fundamental teachings of ancient alchemy and hermeticism.
Alchemists phrase their writings in intentionally obscure wording.
Nope, let me lower it a little bit more. Hold on. I want y'all to hear this. We still got the water though.
Ostensibly to shield their teachings from those they
bring it
consider
back.
unworthy. It also served.
Listen.
Like the ceremonials, alchemists phrased their writings in intentionally obscure wording. Ostensibly to shield their teachings from those they considered unworthy. It It also served to shield themselves from persecution by religious fanatics. Alchemists used a rich symbology that included elemental, planetary, and mineral symbolism, as well as a good dose of ancient paganism. One of the principal themes of alchemical symbolism is the union of opposites, which is expressed in many ways throughout alchemical art. Such familiar figures as the four elements, the twin dragons, and the Ouroboros, the great serpent of the universe eating its own tail, were of great importance in alchemy.
Alright, now, let's go back. Now, did y'all see that, right? Now, when we go here, now check out. Where is it? Here. Now, he makes this comment, and they bring up this imagery, right? Now, this imagery is in the beginning of the video, back here, closer to the 8-minute mark. Alright, let's bring it back. Bam. Okay. Okay, so let's pick it up. Now listen close.
High and the low, and salt, base matter. The four elements are also very important to the alchemist and stand as primary principles: fire, water, earth, and air. All play an integral part in the alchemist studies.
Does it now? Now it plays an integral part in the alchemist studies. Now, hold on, let's bring it back. Now what did he just describe? He just described what? An elemental circle, right? Let's bring up the images. The elemental cross, yeah. Alright. The elemental cross, right? Now, dig on down. Okay. The four elements. Now, the way that they show the four elements is not in the form of a cross. But we know there's such thing as what? An elemental cross. Okay? And this is the cross, the elemental, this one here is what? The cross with the circle, right? Or where's the old one? You gotta go down, way down here at the bottom, I think.
Wow.
Oh, wow. Let's dig on it. So y'all can see what the, you pull up an elemental cross, see all the different variations thereof, what they're talking about. Look, here we go again. And remember this, because this is going to come back up, okay, as we can dig a little deeper. Alright? Just want to give y'all some perspective. Wow. Alright? Just some perspective. Elemental cross. Alright, let's go back to the video. Matter of fact, let's bring it back. And listen to what he said.
The four elements are also very important to the alchemist and stand as primary principles: fire, water, earth, and air. All play an integral part in the alchemist studies. The alchemist is familiar with 7 primary metals which are ruled, influenced, or dominated by 7 planetary influences used in alchemical work. They are gold, dominated by the sun.
Wait, stop right there. Stop right there. Alright, hold on. Now, let's go back to that list. Bring it back. There we go. Gold, silver, copper, iron, tin, mercury, and lead. Now, if you've been digging on it, this here is a hijack because this is really called quicksilver. Okay? And quicksilver is slightly different than quote-unquote mercury. They're actually confused by the two when you start digging on it. But in any case, you have these lists of elements. Now, let's see here. Now, we're talking about friend Brother Phineas, right? Well, we're going to have to vibrate up. Now, why did I say that? Well, we're talking about alchemical dragons here. Okay? Now, and we're talking about alchemy, right? Now, when you connect the dots, you'll realize that this Emerald Tablet stuff, this Thoth spell barrier. Thoth has all the drop because this is the Egyptian magic spell, the Thoth spell, to slay dragons. Remember, you got this Order of the Black Robes, right? And it gets really deep when you start digging on it. Now, out of alchemy, what do we get? From alchemy, we get chemistry, and out of chemistry, we get what? Okay, periodic table, right? Everybody's familiar with this. It's a periodic table, right? Periodic table of what? The elements, right? Now, I think it was might have been Brother King, but it might have been Brother Lex. Because it was that long ago. I apologize. But they had mentioned how, doesn't it look weird, this periodic table? How it's like as if something is missing. Like right in here, right? Or even going straight across. Just by the way that it's laid out, right? Now, if you notice that between here to here is 10 slots, right? Okay. So let me ask you this question. My so-called Negro, did you know that there is a periodic table of elemental dragons, or what they call metallic dragons? And it just so happened that there's 10 of them. Did you know that? I didn't know that either, right? Bake your noodle type of stuff. Now, one thing you start digging on, because there's a lot of different dragons and what have you. So we need to start kind of drilling things down to its base compounds, as the hijack would say. Now, here it is. You can see that a lot of these dragons on here correlate to what? This here. We have gold, right? Let's go back. We have the gold dragon. Go back. We have silver, right? We got a silver dragon. Let's go. We got copper. Copper dragon. Okay. We got iron. See what they got on the correlating dragon on iron. Now, yep, there he is. Iron. Okay. We got 10. Now, on here they don't have 10. But what do we know? To get brass, you need 10 to mix with copper to get brass. Or, as we like to say in the hood, them light-skinned Negroes. Or if you know, that red ball, if you know. All right, let me stop. But you also get, 10 and bronze, right? All right, let me go back. Where was we? Then we got mercury, again, which is quicksilver. But y'all see the pattern here. Now, if I'm not mistaken here, that will either be mithril here, or that will be adamantine. I'm not. You have to apologize as far as the correlation here, but and then you got lead. Okay, so and then you have these corresponding different symbols. Go with it, right? Now let's go back down to the end of the video. What did he say? Hold on. Where is it? It was. How y'all doing, man? And y'all don't mind kicking it with me for a little bit on the Shabbat? Alright, let's go back.
Execution by religious fanatics. Alchemists used a rich symbology.
Alright, bring it back.
Ostensibly
Bring it back.
tendency, which was
There we go.
to be transcended. Uncontrolled spiritual growth can lead to spiritual enlightenment, which must be put into practice to be of value. This is, of course, an oversimplification, in that it is the opposite of the alchemist's own tendency, which was to overcomplication. Like the ceremonials, alchemists phrased their...
Now, the alchemist is to overcomplicate, right? This is how he confuses everybody. So remember, this is their formula for bringing down dragons. Let's take it back.
Part in the alchemist studies. The alchemist is familiar with 7 primary metals which are ruled, influenced, or dominated by 7 planetary influences used in alchemical work.
7 planetary influences. Y'all hear that? Okay, go ahead.
They are gold, dominated by the sun, which provides energy and life to everything in the solar.
Wow. Now, he's going to go down this list and start describing all the elements. Now, check this out. Where is it at? Now, when you realize that he's talking about these metallic dragons. Now, this is really interesting stuff. How are we doing on time? Okay. This is really interesting stuff here, at least to me. Now, if these dragons are going to come back, then we need to understand, some primary base principles dealing with these dragons. And you'll learn that these dragons here really come in 2 types, okay? You have what they call elemental or metallic dragons, and then you have what they call chromatic, chromatic dragons, which is based upon not the element, but based upon color, okay? Now, with all these dragon eggs laid all about, it's my conjecture that when these dragons come back and they are birthed, each person in search for indigenous truth will have a dragon in favor of them, but also a dragon seeking to devour them. And I think that when you understand that Michael or Michael is a dragon, when you read the book of Daniel and how he says he had to fight the Prince of Persia to even get to him, it really takes on a different spin. So now, where was we? Now, this is where things kind of get a little weird, as it were. Now, this is presented by D&D, or what they call Dungeons and Dragons. Now, when you look up Dungeons and Dragons, right? Dungeons and Dragons, right? Abbreviated as D&D or DND, a fantasy, okay, tabletop role-playing game, RPG, originally designed by Gary Gygax and Dave Arneson, and first published in 1974 by Tactical Studies Rules Inc. or TSR. The game has been published by Wizards of the Coast, now a subsidiary of Hasbro since 1997. It was derived from miniature war games with a variation of the chainmail game serving as the initial rule system. D&D publication is commonly recognized as the beginning of modern role-playing games in the role-playing game industry. That means that every role-playing game that you're playing right now on every system is based upon this Dungeons and Dragons that was created in 1974. Okay? Now, where I want to go. Alrighty. So now there's really interesting stuff. You should really read into it. It's kind of cool. Now in Dungeons and Dragons, let's see here. Let's go back. Why is this important? Okay, because this history here of this Dungeons and Dragons actually lines up with Brother Phineas. Now, check this out. Phineas, who had been living in the small, cramped concrete pit for over 70 years, were in all bad repair. In 1972, the newly formed World Dragon Fund used Phineas as their poster dragon to raise funds for the protection of dragons. This is in 1972. Let's go back. Dungeons and Dragons was published in 1974. Now, when you look up tactical studies and rules, now check out what their logo is. In my computer, load. Oh, that's not the old one. Oh, the new one. I wonder how to do it in the Google. It's not the right one. But the imagery that you used to have was one of a dragon. In any case, but you can read on it. They actually have a lot. Now, glad I bring this up. Actually, because I wanted to focus here on Dragon Lands. Okay. Now, when it comes down to Dungeons and Dragons, okay. Well, let me do the history and then I'll get into that. Alright, 1974. And now, when you scroll down, so you got 2 years. Let's go back. 1972, the newly formed World Dragon Fund used Phineas as their poster dragon to raise funds for the protection of dragons. Now, in 1978, a new dragon enclosure was built for Phineas, and his health and attendance at the park dramatically improved. Now, check this out. That was 1978. Now, when you go scroll down, check this out. The early success, okay, of Dungeons and Dragons led to a proliferation of similar game systems. Now, why do I bring this up? Because there's that game system that has a lot of drop, right? I think we're familiar with it, right? And that came out sorry, I can't type. A few years back, like in the what was it, early 90s? Remember, they tell more truth than fiction and more fiction than the truth, right? Yeah, you know, the Illuminati card game where it's like, you know, all this weird, like, Illuminati messaging and stuff already coming to pass and stuff, right? So don't think that this isn't the first time that they've used this technique, right? So let's go back. Let's see here, Dungeons and Dragons. Okay, so now the early success of Dungeons and Dragons led to the proliferation of similar game systems. Despite this competition, D&D remains the market leader in the role-playing game industry. Now, in 1977, the game was split into 2 branches. Okay, the relatively rules-light game system of basic Dungeons and Dragons, and the more structured, rules-heavy game system of Advanced Dungeons and Dragons, or abbreviated AD&D. Now, it was broken up into 2 systems in 1977. Okay, now go back. The following year, in 1978, a new dragon. They were successful as hell, right? because we're only talking about dragons. Okay, now, why did I bring that up? Okay, so let's keep it moving. Now, in the game of Dungeons and Dragons, right? Dungeons and Dragons, they use this dicing system, okay, to basically establish different stats, different probabilities. Okay, now to you, you would just think that, oh, well, this is Hawa, all just kind of like just some weird kid sleeping in his mom's basement type of stuff. But there's a lot of alchemy that goes into this. Now, let's bring it back. Where is it? Yeah, there we go. Now, what are these? Okay, now we've been digging on sacred geometry. Okay, now, oh wow, where is it? I'm done with that one. Let me close that one out. Okay, these are what they call platonic solids. Okay, a platonic solid. Okay, now in three-dimensional space, a platonic solid is a regular convex polyhedron. It is constructed by a congruent, identical in shape and size, regular, all angles equal, and all sides equal polygonal faces with the same number of faces meeting at each vertex. Okay, five solids meet those criteria, and then you have the tetrahedron, right? And they got animation for it, so let's check out this animation. Okay. Now, and this is that right there. Okay. Bring it back. Then you have the cube, right? We're all familiar with the cube. Okay. Now remember, they using this alchemy to hunt your dragons. Okay, so this is important. That there is this one here. See? Okay. Now, the reason why I bring this up is because now in the game of Dungeons and Dragons is kind of unique because they use these different matrices to help define the game. And one of the things is that everything is based upon, number one, these polygonal shapes. This one here is that one there, okay? And then, but they also have another matrix that they use. And that one there is that one there, okay? Now, pretty interesting, right? Now, why is this magic? Well, remember, dragons are fourth dimensional beings. Okay? Matter of fact, if you go back to Brother King drops page 432thedrop.com, come on. I know I saw the article. You know, dragons are fourth dimensional. Where is it? There it is. Boom. Alright? They're fourth dimensional. Now, in order for a dragon to be fourth dimensional, okay, that means that dragon has to exist on a higher octave. What are we talking about? Well, what are we talking about? What are we talking about? What are we talking about? Okay? Now, let me bring up my notepad. Alright. Now, what does this have to do with Brother Phineas? Now, in this game of Dungeons and Dragons, they have a very, again, unique matrix that they use. And this matrix that they use is a matrix for what they call alignment. Now, alignment permeates everything in the game. Everything has some type of what they call alignment, okay? Now, this alignment matrix breaks down like this. You have law. Oh, that's ugly. Y'all see that alright? Okay. So you have law. You have neutral. And then you have chaos. Alright. And then you have good, neutral, and evil, right? Now, this particular matrix creates a couple of different things. So something can be lawful good, which would be in this spot here. Something can be lawful neutral, which would be this spot here. Or something can be lawful but evil, which would be this spot here. Okay? Now, you got chaos. Something can be chaotic good. Something can be chaotic neutral. And then something can be chaotic evil. Okay? And then you have the neutral slot. Something can be neutral good. Something can be neutral evil, which go right here. Or something can be neutral, which they call true neutrality. Okay? Now, why is this important? Well, again, we're only talking about dragons. Okay? No, don't say it. That was just for example. So, we're only talking about dragons. Okay? Now, in the game of Dungeons and Dragons, two of the most popular realms, as they call it, or worlds, is Forgotten Realms and Dragonlance. Me, myself, I'm more particular to Dragonlance because I think Dragonlance has more direct drop. Now, why do I bring that up when it comes down to dragons? Well, the dragons in Dungeons and Dragons are subject to that same matrix of good and evil. Now, when you put an Arkham's Razor to it, your good dragons are your metallic dragons. Okay? Your bad dragons are your what they call chromatic dragons. And maybe I'll get into this in a separate or continued video. But in Dragonlance, let me see. Do I still have it up? In Dragonlance, they actually have a picture of their sky, their firmament. Oh, I didn't mean to close that one. We're going to get into that one in a second here, too. I didn't mean to close it. I closed it. Shoot. I can't find it, y'all. I know I had it in here. Yeah, there it is. Now, this is a picture of the quote-unquote night sky in the game of Dragonlance. And again, everything in here has to follow this matrix of good and evil and neutral and hawa and chaos. Now, again, notice the symbolism. Now, the dragon of evil is Takesis or Takesis, right? And she's a 5-headed dragon, the queen of darkness. She's represented by 5 chromatic dragons. The dragon of good, or the god of good, is Paladin, a platinum dragon. Okay, And they've said juxtapose, okay? Hawa. Now, what's funny here is in their polar sky is the book, okay? Okay? The book sits center, and they rotate around the book. And it really gets kind of trippy, man. You got Kemosh up here, and, you know, we've been digging on that. You know, you got Hadukel, which is in Habakkuk, biblical, you know, biblical Bible names. And here it is, Habakkuk. What is this? A feathery phoenix, fiery serpent. And the fiery serpent here is what? It's got the back of this platinum dragon. I mean, you know, it gets all kind of you know, kooky and crazy when you start putting these dots together. But remember, we're talking about this here. Okay? Now, let's go back over. First, I want to bring up my what's name. Now, dragons are broke down into certain parts, so I think we want to go. What I want to do is go over different dragons. This link here, I hope y'all can see that clearly. Dig on it, man. This is a great, you know, lowest common denominator. Alchemy's razor explaining these particular elemental dragons. Okay, now here it is. We got the wise gold. Okay, the wise gold, the breath weapon, the cone of fire, weakening gas, habitat anywhere. Okay, although they prefer secluded lairs. Okay, diet small gems and pearls. They do not eat any living creatures. Okay. Now remember, we got those that remember these dragon slayers. They hunt dragons. They like to eat dragons. Okay. Now their preferred treasures art, especially painting and sculpture. Gold dragons are the most powerful of metallic dragons. In some versions, they are the strongest of all dragons and the most dedicated to defeating evil. They spend a bulk of their lives in human form. They spend a bulk of their lives in human form? Okay. Seeking out evil and punishing wrongdoers to the best of its considerable abilities. This typical mode of operation runs roughly along the lines of a sting operation. The dragon will listen for stories of dangerous or evil creatures or persons, then reveal its true form and mete out punishment. They prefer to turn villains over to the law enforcement if available, but will ultimately take whatever action they deem necessary in order to see justice served. They are best summarized as the paladins of the draconic world. Wow. Now remember, we're only talking about dragons, Negro, and Negro, we are only talking about you. What type of dragon are you? What type of dragon do you resonate with? What type of dragon is going to come see you when these dragons hatch? But we only talking about dragons. And you better be able to recognize these things, because when these dragons are flying in the sky, you know, you better be able to say, hey, no, that dragon over there, cool, versus, no, man, we need to kick tail and roll out. Alright, let's see here. Now, the gold dragon egg. We talking about dragon eggs already? Okay, hold on. No. Okay, here we go. Physically, before we get to the dragon eggs, calm down. We're going to get there. We ain't in no rush. Alright, physically, gold dragons are quite spectacular. Several large horns tipped with umber shoot sideways from their cheek, and two very prominent horns pointing backwards along their heads. The most obvious feature is probably the tentacle whiskers that sprout from the top and the bottom of the gold dragon's jaw. Given the appearance of beards and swords, their wings, like those of brass and copper dragons, connect the body all the way to the tip of the tail. From below, the overall shape resembles that of a brass dragon, but the different coloring and dramatic difference in size enables easy differentiation. When in flight, the gold dragon's wings ripple, giving the appearance of swimming rather than flying. Right, riding the wave, right? They smell of saffron and incense. Wow, okay. Now the gold dragon eggs must be incubated in the nest of an open flames. A newly hatched gold. You mean like Yellowstone? You mean like dragon layers? Okay, hold on. Let's keep it rolling. Hold on. Now, a newly hatched gold wormling appears similar to an adult, except that it lacks horns and tentacle whiskers. Both parents tend the egg and then take intense interest in their wormling's care and education. At some point, however, the biological parents may send their wormling to live with foster parents. This allows the parent to undertake their own quest as well as exposing the wormling to new experiences. Wow. All right. Unlike many, many species of dragon, gold dragons have a very firm and hierarchical social structure encompassing all members of the species. The structure always has one gold dragon as its leader, who is given the title of Your Resplendence, who serves until he or she either dies or steps down. At that time, all gold dragons congregate and choose the next leader of their kind. Sometimes two dragons may be chosen in such cases. The two will share the duties of leadership. The position of leader or top dragon does not so much involve the maintenance of order. Gold dragons are famous for their good behavior, so much as the dispensing of advice and wisdom to any dragons who ask for it. Gold dragons are ferocious learners. Wow, voracious, learners, and they tend to become very wise and worldly as they age. They freely share their knowledge and experience to anyone who asks, dragon or not. In fact, it is unknown for a gold great worm to take the form of a scholarly professor in order to spread its knowledge in some human center of higher education. Unlike most other species of dragon, the gold dragon devotes immense time and energy